A veritable golfing who's who turned out for the occasion. 5 times British Open champion Peter Thompson was there, Sir Bob Charles, golf commentator Peter Ellis, all in company. But the star of the show, New Zealand's Prime Minister, John Key. And immediately the honour of the first official tee shot, well received by a supportive audience.
A tremendous day, great way to start the opening of this new 9-hole golf course here, and look, fabulous way to see Queenstown and show off New Zealand to the rest of the world. Also showing that he's lost none of his tour form, Greg Turner. And on show, the owner, Mr. Ishii. The Prime Minister, though, was clearly enjoying the golfing environment. Well, golf is a huge attractant for people from around the world. They see this magnificent scenery. We've got great golf courses from the top of the North Island right here to the bottom of the South Island. So people can come here, play one course or play a variety of courses from sort of Kauri Cliffs to Cape Kidnappers right down to Millbrook, of course. The Prime Minister surprised many with his skill. He plays off a 25 handicap at the moment, but he showed plenty of promise. I love it, and clearly I'm not getting enough of it, but life after politics beckons a golf course for me, and a bit of work with a pro. Playing the visually appealing 7th hole, it's fair to say the Prime Minister may be a regular visitor to Millbrook in the future. The original 9 was designed by John Darby and Sir Bob Charles. It's been well patronised over the years. There was, however, a desire to have a new look to the Millbrook layout, and Greg Turner aimed to deliver what was wanted.
The brief was to create as interesting, intriguing a golf course as we could. Obviously it's a resort. We didn't want to beat people up, and that fits perfectly with our philosophy. It's easy to make it hard, it's hard to make it fun. It's hard to get the balance right of challenge for the better player and not make it too hard for the average player. So we're pretty determined to do that, and I'm confident that we've achieved that.
Greg Turner worked with his design partner Scott McPherson, who was anxious to see how the players reacted to the new course.
It's a great privilege to come and do anything on the land. We feel very privileged that Mr. Ishii and Millbrook have given us the chance and given us the money to be able to do it. Satisfied takes a little while longer until we see actually how it plays. You go through the process of imagining how it will play, but probably only now it's been open 10 days or 2 weeks and people are getting out there and playing it, and I'm spending quite a lot of time watching and seeing if my estimations on where they might hit the ball have come true or not.
So as a golfer, I guess you're normally just looking at the golf side of a hole, but as a designer, you're trying to do more than that. The first here on the Coronet 9 is a bit of an example of that. We've tried to give people a dramatic start by pointing them straight at the remarkables. If you can get a really good backdrop, then you can give people an interesting experience beyond just the golf. Now, the other thing that occurred here is while we were forming the fairway, we discovered these seams of schist. Well, rather than remove them, what we're able to do is uncover them and have them form part of the play of the hole. Now, the other thing you're trying to do is give people a sense of location. So if you can use the natural features, then automatically people are going to feel more like they're in an environment that's specific to where we are. Well, as you can see, this is a fairway that you don't need to be intimidated by. It's pretty wide. A lot of room over here, a bit narrower on this side. Now, this schist in the middle is pretty dramatic, but the ball's virtually never going to finish on here. So while it's visually stimulating, it looks like a hazard, it's not really a hazard. There are no great drama in the greens, no great slopes, no great tiers, but the advantage is to be able to use the length of the green. You've got to hit that brave tee shot up the right. If you're up the left, you're coming across the green, you're effectively using the width of the green as the length, much more difficult. No need for great drama in the green when you've set it up at an angle like that. Well, with the first green angling from right to left, it was important to augment that with the second green angling from left to right. Main feature of this hole, only 130 metres, so not a long hole, slightly downhill, is quite an extensive tier in the middle of the green. Sort of plays like 2 separate greens, one on the left, one lower right. Well, the third hole is one of the most difficult on the 9. Almost 445 metres from the back tee, but it is quite downhill. Key here is a wide fairway, but you get it in the left-hand side of the fairway so that the angle works well up the green. Now, the diagonal line short of the green that houses the bunkers is the key to the strategy of the hole. Less distance to get up on the left, more on the right, hence better being in the left-hand side of the fairway. And there's a lot of sand down near this green, and sometimes it's probably better to play it as a 3-shotter. Lay up short of the bunkers, pitch on, and hopefully you'll have a putt for par. Well, having come from a very long par 4, the fourth hole's a very short one, only about 310 metres. There are days when, that's from the back tee too, there are days when you can really drive at this green. Again, the fairway's a little wider than it looks. The key is to get it in the left-hand half so that you get a view at the green. It's usually only a pitch onto the green, but the back edge is an infinity edge. You can see that it drops away steeply beyond the pin, and that always makes for a daunting pitch shot. I think you'll find as people play here, a lot of times they're short with their second shot, even though it may only be from 60 or 70 metres. Now, the fifth hole is a very difficult par 4, 459 metres from the championship tees. Quite an unusual hole, a little bit of a dog leg left, and the green sits as a saddle in a landform, which actually means that it's a little counterintuitive from a strategic perspective. You're better to drive down the right-hand side to open up the hole, then all the slopes will allow you to run the ball onto the green. If you drive down the shorter line, the left-hand side, then those angles close up and the water, the pond on the right of the green really comes into play. So this is a long, daunting par 4, but quite a strategic battle. The sixth hole is undoubtedly the most strategic hole on the course. It's a par 5, about 570 metres from the back tee, probably more fun from the blue or the white. Wetland all the way up the right, stream up the left. Now, it looks like a very wide fairway. It is a wide fairway. If you want to have all of your options open, though, you really need to drive it in the right-hand side of this fairway. Now, if you do that, then you have alternatives. You can come to the island fairway on the left, or you can shoot across the stream onto a wider fairway on the right. Now, the right-hand option is the easier option, but the green really does set up to receive a third shot from the island. Of course, if you're really long, you can go at the green in 2, but you'd want the nor'wester behind you to achieve that. I think this might be my favourite part of the golf course. When we first came out here to look at this, it wasn't a pretty sight, to be honest. The stream had been diverted into a straight channel right down the middle. It was a swampy area. There were a few cattle around. The stream wasn't good for much. The edges had broken down. It really didn't look like a hospitable environment for anything, let alone golf. But what we did is we created a pond at the top end. That slowed the stream up. We were then able to divert the stream back to its original course, which is down through the willows, and then meander back across the fairway. Now, within just a few months, the trout had moved back in because no longer was the environment hostile. There was places for them to hide whenever there was a flood came through. So not only, I think, have we created really interesting golf down here, but we've enhanced the environment to such that it's a real habitat for wildfowl and trout. I think this is a part of the golf course that Millbrook can be really proud of. Well, the most striking feature of the par 3 7th hole is that schist rock wall behind the green. When we were constructing this green, the plans were for it to be about 1.5 metres higher than we finally ended up. As we excavated and found that schist wall, we thought it was such a striking feature that we really wanted to unveil it, if you like. So by lowering the green, we were able to show more of it off. I think it adds a whole nother perspective to golf at Millbrook. Now the 8th, a short par 4, this is one of the first holes we brought into play. This is a hole where you can drive at the green if you're brave enough. It does involve carrying that hazard. Most people will play this down the left-hand side and then hit across the hazard to the green. But the key here is you want to be further down the hole the further the pin is to the right. When the pin's on the left or right at the back right, then you're better to hit it in close to the hazard and a little shorter. Now you get to the closing hole on this 9, and some of you will recognise parts of this hole. We thought the finishing green complex, the area in front of the old clubhouse, was absolutely quintessentially Millbrook, so we didn't want to tamper with that. So we built a brand new green and reshaped the surroundings, but it's in exactly the same location. The hole itself's moved quite a way, about 30 degrees probably further to the south. What we really wanted to do is get a good look at this hole from the tee, so we've lowered the fairway quite considerably. So now right the way down the hole you can see where you're trying to get to, and it's a par 5, it's reachable in 2 for the longer hitters, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of drama unfold on the 9th hole of the Coronet 9 at Millbrook. Well, this setting in amongst the clubhouse and the trees and the ponds is quintessentially Millbrook. When you return here after playing the new Coronet 9, you'll be ready to get into the hole-in-one bar and reminisce. I'm really proud of what Scott McPherson and I have achieved here. I think that what we've done on the Coronet 9 firmly places Millbrook as one of the go-to places in New Zealand. There may be prettier places in the world to play golf. I haven't been to one.